Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr. Today's show presented to you by our friends at Manscaped. Valentine's Day coming around the corner. Get yourself or a significant other the perfect package and get 20% off and free shipping in the process by plugging in that link down below, chatsports.com/49ers. Enter the promo code 49ers for that deal to apply. I'll put that link in the comment section as well as the description of this video. So John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan wrapped up the 2021 season in the aftermath of that crushing NFC Championship game loss and had a lot of interesting things to say to the media. Is Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance both going to return in 2022? Kyle Shanahan left the door open for that. Deebo Samuel and Nick Bosa potentially going to get the bag as they are now eligible for contract extensions. And there was a rumor floated out there by Boomer Esiason that the general manager of the San Francisco 49ers in John Lynch wants to return to the broadcast booth, but Lynch turn those rumors down. We first start off with the most notable storyline for the 49ers going into the 2022 NFL offseason as to whether or not Garoppolo will be back next year alongside Trey Lance as the starter for the final year of his contract. Kyle Shanahan said this: "We got a great young quarterback who was a rookie, and we have a great quarterback who's a veteran. We've had Jimmy here for 5 years, and he's played in 2 of those seasons fully. Before this year, it was only 1 out of those 4 years. That was our big worry going into it. We could not go into another year where Jimmy Garoppolo didn't make it through the season. The 2 years he has played, he's taken us to a Super Bowl, and he's taken us really close in the NFC Championship game on Sunday. Jimmy has made this decision a lot harder because he stayed healthy and he played like he's capable of playing, which to me is one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. You're in a situation where you have to make some tough decisions moving forward. There's a lot of good options there. A lot of cards are on the table." So Kyle Shanahan, over the last several months, has had plenty of opportunities to say, we're going to move forward with either Trey Lance, we're going to move forward with Jimmy Garoppolo. He hasn't made a bold statement either way. He's left the door open for Garoppolo to come back for the final year of his deal for that base salary, which is around $24 million. They did both say, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, that no matter what happens, they're going to keep Jimmy Garoppolo in the loop. And I think Garoppolo over time in his 5 years has earned that. He's well respected by those two. He's well respected by the entire organization. And obviously the locker room has rallied around Garoppolo as well. And there are a bunch of teams that could be in play for Garoppolo's services, as we'll show you here in just a few moments. I've let my feelings be known on this. I'm moving forward with Trey Lance. The NFC Championship game was the perfect example of the fact that you need a more dynamic quarterback at that position to really fully unlock Kyle Shanahan's offense, which has been very good to great at times, but there's a ceiling on the offense with Garoppolo under center. We saw firsthand what happened with the Rams. They had a good, not great quarterback with Jared Goff. Same predicament that the Niners are in. The Rams swung for the fences. They realized that the Super Bowl window was open, and they took a big swing, made a trade for Matthew Stafford, who clearly is a more gifted thrower of the football and a more dynamic threat at the quarterback position. And what happened? They're now on the doorstep of winning a Super Bowl championship. I do not think that they would be here with Jared Goff, and I think the Niners are in a similar situation with Garoppolo. That's why I say give the keys to the car to Trey Lance because, man, he has so much dynamic ability. Now, the odds for Jimmy Garoppolo's next team have been updated and they have been released. Pittsburgh Steelers, leaders in the clubhouse at plus 400. Washington football team there as well at 4-1 odds too. Buccaneers with Tom Brady now officially retiring at plus 550. And the Denver Broncos at plus 600. All of these teams are in need of a quarterback. And I'm going to continue to say, with Garoppolo's value high, him making it to a second NFC Championship game in 3 years, the Niners can get back a second-round pick, which is big for team building because they don't have a first-round pick. They traded that away to move up for Trey Lance at number 3 in the 2021 NFL Draft. I want to gauge where the Niner gang is at. So I want to ask you this question. Your one-word reaction if Garoppolo ends up being the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers in the 2022 season. Let me know what your one-word reaction would be if Garoppolo moves forward as the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. Another very interesting nugget. Boomer Esiason on his radio show said that John Lynch, general manager of the Niners, for those not familiar, I would imagine you are, thinking about going back to the broadcast booth. Not sure what network, but he obviously came to the Niners from Fox. And at that time, when John Lynch was hired by the York family as the general manager, a lot of people laughed at it. They said, a former safety, yes, he's a Hall of Famer, but doesn't have player development in his background, and he's going to make the move from the broadcast booth with no front office experience to be the general manager of one of the most iconic brands in the history of the NFL. What's going on here? But I think over time, John Lynch has been able to prove that he has a good eye for player development, and he's been able to pinpoint some really talented players in free agency and in the draft. Now, the haters and the detractors will all say, John Lynch has had so many busts in the NFL draft. Every single general manager and head of player personnel has missed in the draft. It's an inexact science. It's hard to identify which players are going to be good, but let's just look at the draft class a couple years ago when you get Nick Bosa in the first round and Deebo Samuel in the second round. We'll talk about those guys coming up, but those are great draft selections in addition to some of the picks that have been made later in the draft. The good news for the Niners and the good news for me is that I want organizational continuity. I want organizational stability. And John Lynch did turn down those rumors and say, look, I've not heard of Boomer Esiason throwing my name out there as wanting to go back to the broadcast booth, but my full commitment is to the Yorks. My full commitment is to Kyle Shanahan. My full commitment is to the San Francisco 49ers organization. So it looks as though, at least as of now, in the foreseeable future, that rumor not going to ring true, and John Lynch is going to stay on as the GM. As I've talked about, don't really have to go long on this talking point because I just talked about it. John Lynch has proven himself as a good GM. And again, I want to harp on this. It is so imperative to have sustainable success, to have continuity and consistency within your organization. Think of it as a business. Many of us have jobs, right? And if you're consistently, going through changes at some of the top spots within a business, you're not going to have long-standing success if those top posts and those top positions are being fluctuated year in and year out, and there are a bunch of changes there. You have your general manager, you have your head coach in Kyle Shanahan. They've been this close to winning a Super Bowl twice in the last 3 years. Keep the crew together, and let's ride. Now, this is why you subscribe to the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. One, we're the largest 49ers news and rumors channel on YouTube, quickly approaching 55,000 subscribers. But when big news like this comes to the forefront, we have you covered with the video faster than anybody else. Jimmy Garoppolo about to talk right now to the media too. If any notable nuggets come out of that, we'll have you updated there as well. Breaking news, rumors, live shows, watch parties, which were lit all year. We do it all here on the channel. Make sure you hit that red subscribe button down below. Now, as I mentioned off the top, today's show presented to you by our friends at Manscaped. And I have a question for the homies out there and for the ladies. Do you shave? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I do because I have a baby face, and if I were to try to grow out a beard, it would look really, really splotchy, and it wouldn't look good at all. Also, I'm not the hairiest dude, but I do my due diligence, and I keep my chest hair trimmed as well as my back hair, and of course below the belt, I gotta keep it pretty down there because the nether region, if it gets out of control, that's just ridiculous, and your significant other won't like it if it's looking like the Sahara or the Amazon rainforest. Valentine's Day coming up in 2 weeks. Can't believe it's right around the corner. Get yourself hooked up or a significant other with the perfect package from Manscaped. You can get 20% off and free shipping by going to manscaped.com/49ers and enter the promo code 49ers. The perfect package. The deal is just terrific. All in one, you get the boxer briefs, which are honestly the most comfortable boxer briefs I've ever worn. Your balls won't be flopping around inside of them. The Lawnmower 4.0, interchangeable blades, a battery life that lasts forever, ball toner, ball deodorant, and a travel case so you can stick all of that stuff in the travel case for when you travel. It's the perfect gift for Valentine's Day. Get it right now, 20% off and free shipping in the process by going to manscaped.com/49ers. Next up, as we wrap up this show, Deebo Samuel, Nick Bosa. Both members of that draft class a couple years ago, both set to get paid because both have emerged as two of the best playmakers on the offensive and defensive sides of the football. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan also talked about those guys getting paid, and this is really good news for me. You know, I've talked already about organizational stability and continuity. You also have to have those franchise pillars. And when you are able to bring in franchise pillars through the draft, you want to have those players as members of your organization for a really long time. They're special cats. They mean a lot to the culture. And on the football field, my goodness, they both turned in marvelous 2021 seasons. John Lynch on both Bosa and Samuel saying this: with he and Nick, we fully understand these guys are pillars of what we're trying to do here. We have really good lines of communication with both of their representatives and their agents. That will continue. Obviously, planning has been done to account for those guys. I'm sure we'll find a way to get that done. That's been budgeted for. You know what that tells me? They take a look at the books and they say, okay, Deebo Samuel, outside of quarterback, MVP caliber player this year. Nick Bosa, 15.5 sacks, 4 more in the playoffs, 19.5 sacks in 20 games this year. He's a game wrecker. Both guys are two of the best players at their respective positions. We're going to take a look at the books, and we're going to find a way to get them both paid because we want to keep those guys happy. Now, I understand that the 49ers don't have a bunch of wiggle room in terms of their cap, but here's what I'll tell you. It's worth paying these guys now because the salary cap in the NFL is only going to continue to increase. So by signing this offseason, going into the final years of the rookie contract, you can actually, if you have that money budgeted aside, afford to pay those guys and work ahead in the future and get those contracts done and save money in the process because their value is only going to increase if they stay healthy and with the salary cap increasing. Take a look at what Deebo did on the receiving end in 2021. Fantastic. I mean, that can't be overstated, understated. 77 catches, 1,400 yards, average yards per catch, 18.2, 6 touchdowns through the air. How about on the ground? 56 totes, 365 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Average yards per carry, 6.2. John Lynch, in that press conference today, called him a wide back because he plays both wide receiver and running back. He's kind of redefined how you use weapons in today's NFL. As for Nick Bosa, just another great season for him. Coming off a torn ACL, for him to put forward this performance, very, very impressive. 21 tackles for loss, 15.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 32 quarterback hits. One of the best edge rushers in the league, one of the best weapons in the league. Let's hope that they're rocking the scarlet, red, and gold for a long time to come. Who gets more money among these two stars? Type DS for Deebo Samuel, NB for the Bear in Nick Bosa. Edge rusher might be more important than wide receiver, but is there a more important player to an offense than Deebo Samuel? I'm challenging you at this because I want to get your minds working. Couple more takeaways. Kyle Shanahan said, no regrets punting it away on 4th and 2 just past midfield. You got stuffed a couple of times there. I still would have gone for it. If you get it, I think you might be able to win the game. Also, Kyle Shanahan did say he thought about starting Trey Lance at quarterback following that 3-5 start, but elected to stick with Jimmy Garoppolo. And lastly, offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel interviewing Thursday for the Miami Dolphins head coaching vacancy. As for who could take his job if he were to leave to become the next head coach in South Beach, Bobby Slowick, the name mentioned by Kyle Shanahan. He is the pass game coordinator for San Francisco right now. I kind of broke down those rumors for McDaniel and the fact that D'Amico Ryans is staying on the channel last night from the crib. Make sure you catch that video, and also give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. Love interacting with the Niner gang. I understand the 49ers are done playing games. Our coverage only beginning here on the channel. If you have a question about the Niners, you have a hot take you want to share with me, hit me up on social media.